Good evening. So last time we ended on functions under Microsoft Excel. Okay, we looked at a few editing, how to add some colors, how to merge and center the text. Okay, that's how we even added this test results, which is on top, and also subjects, which is on top. And also we also looked at resizing the columns so that they fit the content that we want to put there. Okay, and we also looked at resizing the rows like that. Okay, and so today we are going to proceed, and the other thing that I should mention that we looked at is the sum function. So I did an introduction to functions, and we looked at the sum function. Okay, if you're able to see here on top, when C4 is active, you'll notice that on the function, on the formula bar, you're going to see the actual function that was used, the actual formula that was used in this cell. So basically, we used the sum function. And I also mentioned that when you want to write a function or a formula, you always start with an equal sign. Okay? You're going to find that I'll be using the words formula and function interchangeably because basically they almost mean the same thing. Okay, a formula is this whole thing that's in here. Okay, the equal sign, the sum, the A4, 4 colony, and B4. While the function is just the sum. That is the function. Okay, so basically that's it about functions. So we are going to continue. We are going to look at a few more interesting functions. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is the average. The next one we'll look at is the average. Okay, if you want to find the average mark for this particular student, maybe let's just add let's add a column here, one that is going to have names for these students. Okay, okay, I just want to share the formatting styles which are on these other ones to also include these ones here. So that's basically what I'm trying to do here. Okay, that's okay. Managed for the second one. I'm also going to do for this one like that. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create borders on this one as well. Okay, but before I click on borders, I'm just going to highlight this whole space so that when I create borders, and I'm just going to increase, and I think this is okay. All right, so I'll just click on borders, and I'm going to choose all borders, and then we're going to have another one here. And here I said I wanted to put names, so I'm just going to give it a name called what? Names. Just write them in capital letters. Oh no, not marks, but names, like that. Okay, so we've added another column. Remember I talked about how to add a column. Okay, so we're going to give the first student, what name can we give the first student? Okay, we're just going to call the first student all right, apologies for that. We are going to continue. we're going to give the first student, let's say the first student is Mike. The second one is John. The third one is Joshua. And the third one is Mary. Okay, so we have 4 students. And now, remember I was talking about finding the average for each of these students. We want to find the average mark. Okay? We want to find the average mark. So to find the average mark, let me just write average here on top so that we'll be able to see that this is the column for average. So we're going to find the average for Mike, and when we find the average for Mike, we're going to share the formula with the rest of the students, which is John, Joshua, and Mary. Okay, so how do we find the average? Remember, if you were to do it manually, you would have to add all these, to add 20, 10, just to add 20 and 10. This is the total mark, so it does not count under average. So you just have to add 20 and 10 and divide by what? By 2. Okay, so basically this is what this formula or function is going to do. So we are going to use the average formula that is available in Microsoft Excel. It's here, you see, it's called average here. It's called average. So I'm just going to click on it and then I'm going to click OK. And there we are. I want you to take note of something. Excel assumes that we want to find the average for everything that is before the cell that we are working on. Okay, so it has actually added even the total mark here, so much that the cell range is from B4 to D4. But we know that D4 is the total mark, and we don't want it to be part of the what? The calculation for the average. So we're just going to change here. We're going to delete D and we're going to put C, because the results, we only have mathematics results and English results for Mike. And mathematics results, they are in B4, and English results are in what? C4. So this is basically what this formula means. And you notice when I've deleted, the cell range has also changed. There's no longer a 30, there's just 20 for mathematics and 10 for English. And this is what we want to find the average for. Let's just read what's down here. Average retains the what? The average or the arithmetic mean. Average is the same as mean. Okay, so it's going to retain the arithmetic mean of the what? Of its arguments, which can be numbers or names or arrays or references that contain what? Numbers. Okay, all right. So since we've indicated the cell range, I'm just going to click OK. And we have 15 as the average. Okay, so Excel has done the calculation for us. Okay, so I'm just going to drag down this formula so that we can find the average for all the students, and there we are. Others, the average is 42.5. The other one is what? 32.5. The other one is 22.5. So this is their average mark. Okay, so let's find the student who got the highest mark. Okay, let's find the student who got the highest mark. We can decide to put the highest mark. We can use the next column to find the student who got the highest mark, or we could just go down here on total, because total is what is going to give us the student who got the highest mark. Okay, because to find the highest mark for each student, we have to add all the subjects which are available, and the subjects which are available is mathematics and English. Okay, so we have the total. So in short, we are going to use the total to find the student who is the highest. And we are also, when we are done finding the student who got the highest mark, we are also going to find the student who got the lowest mark. All right. Okay, so let's move. We're just going to put the results here in D9. Okay, so before D9, I'm just going to go in C9 and write highest, like that. Oh no, let me just add an S like that. Highest, like that. Okay, but then the question is, how do we find the student who got the highest mark? Now, it's so easy to find the student who got the highest mark because Microsoft Excel has a function called max. Max helps us to find the highest mark in this range, which is the total results. Okay, so I'm just going to make D9 active because that is where we want our answer to go. Understand? Okay, so this highest that I've written here is just for us to be able to see what is happening. And now, the same way that we added average here, total here, I'm just going to tag this one as a highest. Okay, so that we can know that we were finding the highest in what? In D9. So I'm just gonna go under insert function. When I go under insert function, I'm going to look for max. And max is right here. Remember, I mentioned that if you cannot find it, you can come under what? Under the search here, and then you can just type what? Max. Like that. Okay? And when you're done, then you're going to click go. And when you click go, it comes on top here. So we have max here. So since we have it, remember, let me also just read this. It retains the largest value in a set of values. No wonder we are using it because we want it to retain the largest number amongst these numbers. Okay, all right, so the range of numbers that we want to use is from D. Let me just move this so that we can see. Okay, like this. So I've moved it here. Okay, so the range of cells that we have is from D4 to D8. Okay, and as you can see here, it's from what? D4, where there's the first results for Mike, until what? D8. But they've added D8 except it's blank. But so since it's blank, we'll just leave it like that. It won't change anything. But basically, it's supposed to be like this up to here. Okay, D4 to D7. So we want to find, this is going to be our cell range. Okay, even here you can see it has written that we are finding the max for what? D4 to D7. Since we have indicated our cell range to be D4 to D7, we're just going to click OK. And we are going to have the highest mark. When you look at the results, I'm sure you will agree with me that the highest mark is what? 85, right? Great. So let's proceed. Let's find the student who got the lowest. Okay. Lowest, it's going to go in the next one here. Okay. To find the student who got the lowest mark, we're going to use the what? The mean function. Okay. We are going to use the mean function. So the mean function, it's M-I-N, not M-E-A-N, no? Mean to mean minimum. Okay. So I'm just going to go there. Then I'm going to find mean. Let's try to check if it's there. Oh, if it's not there. So since it's not there, we have to search for it. So I'm just going to type mean like that. When I type mean, I'm going to click on go, and there it is. It's right on top here. So since we found it, I'm going to click OK. And when I click OK, then it's going to give me function arguments. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see this, but the function argument basically gives us the range of the cells that we want to work with. Okay, so since it has not given us the range, we know that to find the minimum, we want to use the total. So we're going to click in here. So I'm just going to do this. We want to find the minimum on this range. Okay, so we're going to use the total results for all the students, which is from what? D4 to D7, exactly the range that we used for maximum. So since I've done that, I'm just going to, remember you're able to see here it's D4 to D7, which is our cell range. So I'm just going to click OK. And there is our minimum. The student who got the lowest mark got 30%, and that's who? Mike. The student who got the highest mark got 85%, and that's who? Mary. Okay, so the highest student in this class was actually a girl, which is good. All right, so this is how we use these formulas, these functions to find what we are looking for. Okay. Now, there's one more interesting formula that I want us to look at before we stop looking at Microsoft Excel. Okay. The formula that I want us to look at is the if function. The if function, it's a logical function, it's a conditional function that gives us results based on what conditions. So we're going to set two conditions, and if those conditions are satisfied, we're going to ask that it returns a certain value, and if the condition is not satisfied, we're going to ask that it gives us another value. Okay, in our case, we want to create a pass rate for this student. Okay, we want to get a comment here so much that if a student got above, let's see the marks. If a student got above 50, it should return pass. If the student did not get above 50, it should return fail. Okay, so those results will be in here, the comments or the grade comments. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I said we are going to use the if function. I've explained that the if function is a conditional function. So you have to set two conditions. If one is satisfied, then Excel is going to retain a certain value that you have defined. And if it is not satisfied, then it will retain another value that you again has defined. All right, so let's move on and go to insert. Remember, if you want to insert a function, we'll keep going to insert, okay? And we don't have to look for if, because if is right here. Are you able to see it? There it is. So we have if, okay? We have the if there, and so I'm just gonna click OK, okay? And when you read what's here, it's saying that it checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if it's true and another value if it's false. Okay, so our logical test, we say that under logical test, okay, so we have three function arguments. We have logical test, we have value if true, and also value if false. And I don't know why you guys are unable to see this, but anyway, I hope you'll be able to follow through. We have logical tests, the first one, which is a logical test, and then the second one is value if true, what we want it to display if it's true, and the third one is value if false, what we want it to display if it's false. So we say that our logical test is what? Remember, I said that we are going to use the total results to find the what? To get the comments. We are going to use the highest marks that they got. We are going to use the what? The total. Okay. So we are going to say if the student got above 50. Okay. So we're going to say D4. We know that the first student is in D4. So we're going to find to use the formula, this formula, to find the comment for the first student, and then we're going to distribute it to the rest of the students to autofill. You understand that, right? So you should understand why we are using D4, because we want to find for Mike first. Okay, and when we find for Mike, then we can find for John, for Joshua, and for Mary. So under Mike, the total results for Mike are in D4. So we're going to say D4 under logical what? Test. We're going to say D4 is what? Greater than greater than or equal to 50. Okay, that is our logical test. Let me just remove the plus. It's supposed to be equal to, like that. Okay, that is our logical test. Understand? We said for every student to get above 50, it should give us a what? If that condition is true, we said it should give us a pass. So we're just going to write pass in here. And then if the student got below, if that condition is not true, if it's below 50, if the results for a student is below 50, then it should give us what? Fail. So I'm just going to type fail in there. Okay. All right. So this is our conditions and the values if true and also values if false. Okay. All right. So let me just read this. Checks whether a condition is met. Okay, this condition here. It checks if our condition is met and returns one value if true and another value if false. Okay, so one value if true and another one if false. Okay, value if false, the value that returned in logical test is false. If omitted, false is what is returned. Okay, let's click OK. All right, great. So this is our formula here on top. If you're able to see the formula bar, we said if D4, which is what the total results for Mike, is greater than or equal to 50, comma, pass if that condition is true in like that in quotation marks, and fail in quotation marks. So this is the syntax for this formula. If you're going to manually type this formula, it should look exactly like this. Okay, so since we are done, we are just going to click what? Okay, we've already gotten a fail because the results that Mike got, they are below 50. So let's just autofill this formula so that we see if it works for the rest of the students. There it is. So we have 2 students who passed and 2 students who failed. Okay, so this is basically how you use the what? The if function. Okay, basically this is all we are going to look at under Excel. Okay, but you can explore more options here. Okay, you can add charts. Okay, let's say we want to get statistics for, we want to get a chart that illustrates the total results. So let's just choose this one. Let me just show you this. Let's choose the total results and let's use them to come up with a chart. Okay. Which one are we going to choose? Okay, let's choose 2D. Okay, let's just choose this one. All right, great. You see? So this is how the total result, the distribution of the total marks are. Okay, so we have 4 students. Okay, so we are going to see that the student who got 85, this is the what? Their space, and then the student who got what? 30%, they have the what? The small share here, and we also have the student who got what? 45 being represented here, and we also have another student who got 65, who is Joshua. Okay, so basically this is how you do this. Okay, this is how you create charts to represent your contents. Okay, like that. Very beautiful chart. Okay, so basically this is it about Microsoft Excel. You can use it to create charts, to enter data, to calculate the data, and when you're done, you can analyze that data and form charts using it. Okay, you illustrate that data. Okay, so basically this is it. If we want, we can use a what? Um, another chart which is not a pie chart, which is a bar chart. Okay, you can also insert a bar chart if you want. Okay, you can also use pivot charts if you want. But if you want to learn more about these tools, please enroll for advanced for data analysis using what? Excel. Then you're going to learn more about these tools. We are not going to look at all of them. We've looked at how to add a chart, and also how to use the functions, and how to enter the data, and how to edit the data. Okay, so that it is validated. Okay, so that's all about Microsoft Excel. Thank you so much for joining the class. Okay, next time when we meet, we're going to look at Access, and we are going to look at Publisher, and we will be done with Microsoft what? Excel. I mean Microsoft Package, and we'll be done with this course. But for now, have a wonderful night. Bye bye.